before I found out about SDA and Sana Living, the houses I used to live in were more modified rather than built for purpose, where I think with SDA homes and what organisations like Sana Living offers is built for purpose for different disabilities, for different people and different people's need. And I think the big difference for me is that we can now live in apartments and homes that just feel like part of the community rather than this is definitely a disabled home, if that makes sense. Before I moved into this SDA apartment, I lived on my own for 28 years. And it was also, there were always homes modified for the chair rather than built around the chair and my needs. So, but with this kind of setup, you've got the assistive technology, you've got the lights that can be dimmed, you've got, the curtains and the windows that can be opened automatically and shut automatically, and instead of just trying to reach over and pull them shut. So I think with SDA and with what Sana do, it's more about the person than just getting them into a home. It's about making sure that the home and the tenant is a good fit for each other, rather than, right, we've got a spare home, let's throw them in there and do the modifications as we go. For example, where I was living before this, I often had to, and it's going to sound really bad, but I often had to leave the house with the main wooden door open. But because I could only lock the screen door, I couldn't actually pull the wooden door closed. So I always felt that was a little bit unsafe, because people would know I wasn't home because the door was open. But at the time, it was the only way I could do it. But I think with this apartment having, face recognition to open the door, which means that I don't have to worry about, getting my keys out, dropping my keys, and trying to get in the right angle to put the key in and things like that. I can just use my face to open the door, and the fact that I know that it'll close behind me means that I don't have to try to pull it shut, and I don't have to lean over to open the door. And it means, generally speaking, that I don't have to ram the door to get it open, which means it stays on its hinges longer. And I don't have to find other ways to do it, like using my helping hand to lean over and close the door, or tie a bit of rope to it to close the door. So it's little things like that I think now with technology and things like SDA and what Sana has been able to manage with buildings, they've been able to either buy or build. I think it's made disability homes less obvious, which may sound simple, but when you're living in the community, you don't want to be known as, okay, this is disability housing area, or these group of homes are for the disabled community. Living in a place like Amana means that, we're just part of the community. If you told me 10 years ago I'd be now living in an apartment, I would have looked at you and laughed. But I think with the technology and SDA and the NDIS in particular have changed the way they want to look at, say, disability housing. I think it's made us more part of the community than separate. I've got to say, one of the benefits that I didn't realise I was going to have here is that I'm not on the ground level. So therefore, if anyone wants to come in, they've either got to scale the building or try to find a way up to my level, which with the fob means that I'm the only one that can get up here. So for me, I didn't realise it would be more safe. I'd feel more safer than I ever have before. It was actually my OT from Ability Centre who rang me up and went, listen, there's this new form of housing, and we've got one of the old OTs from Ability Centre now works for this organisation called Sana. They do SDA. She explained what SDA was. It might be worth giving them a call, seeing what they've got. Actually, Tara called me and said, look, this is what we do. Can we have a meeting? It just snowballed from there. And would have only been within a month of first talking to Tara. She said, look, one of the homes is opening up. How about you come and have a look around? And as soon as me and my partner saw it, we just went, this is perfect. Because you had benches that went up and down, you had all that kind of stuff, and it was just... And then I suddenly thought, hang on, in 5-10 years' time, the house I'm in now is going to be pretty much obsolete for my needs, and with what Sana can do, they can adapt things as my abilities and I get older and need more assistance. I always knew that the Booragoon option was for me because I knew the area, but at one point there, because it hadn't been built yet, and we didn't know how far away it was. I did talk to my partner about maybe looking somewhere else, but at the end of the day, just the way it was explained to me how these individual SDA homes were going to be set up, I felt that if I'd gone into even one of the villas and stuff like that, I think I wouldn't have felt as independent as what I did here. So I think for me, the only issue I had were all the delays and would I get the funding, and so they were just little minor things that I thought, I know where I've got where I am, but I always felt that knowing what I got, knowing I could work around it, the idea of not having to work around anything kind of kept me focused on this was going to be a good fit for me, say 10, 20 years down the track. So it would have been easy to say no, it's taking too long, or things are going slow, so I'm better off staying where I am. But I kind of always thought, hang on, in 10 years' time, this place isn't going to be right for me. So let's move into something that I know can be adapted as I get older, and I need more assistance somehow. And I remember this, within 2 weeks of my OT putting in the application, I pretty much got approved, to the point where I rang Tara and went, I've got approval. She went, no, there's no way, we just put the paperwork in. She said, send me the email, you've obviously misread it. Send the email while on the phone. She read it and went, oh my God, that's the quickest I've ever seen. My advice to anyone looking at it is that it's slow now, and it's gonna take a while for the funding to come through, but I think for your long-term benefit, it's worth just hanging in there, fighting through it, just keep going, because I think the long-term benefits far outweigh that short-term frustration and angst, but it's definitely worth it. Some of my favourite things about living where I live now is, A, as I've said before, it's safe. B, particularly with this setup, is that you've got support on hand, so that if you do have a fall or spill something, you've got people who can come and immediately help you out. You don't have to rely on family being close by. You've got that safety, that knowledge that if something does go wrong, you've got the assistance here to immediately get you out of any issue that you might have. For example, I've fallen out of bed and got the night support to assist me back into bed. Before that, I had to call my parents from Coburn, and look, with all due respect to them, they're not getting any younger. My brothers have got their own families, and my partner lives in Byford. So to know that there's someone downstairs close by that I can just go, I've had a fall, I need some assistance. For me, that's the biggest thing for living here. Then you've got how close Garden City is, so if you need to go down the shops or anything, you're only 200 metres away. You've got things like the movies close by. One of my biggest benefits right now that I'm finding, because I go out a lot, the fact that there's 2 bus stops right outside the front door, so you can go to Perth one way or go to Freo the other. It gives you that absolute freedom of saying, I want to go into Freo today, or I want to go into Perth, or if you want to go to the footy, you can just get on the train or on the bus, and it takes you right there. So there's this particular building, and where it's situated is just so central to absolutely everything. Working with Sana to get all this up and running, and even now that I'm in, they listen to you as an individual, not tell you, okay, this is our experience, this is what we think you should do. I mean, you do get that advice. At the end of the day, they will listen and help the tenant out wherever they can. And very easy company to work with. They will listen to what a person needs, and they will accommodate wherever possible. My life has changed, not necessarily what I couldn't do before. It's the the ease at which I feel like I can do things, the more comfortable I feel like I can do things, and the feeling of being safe, that yes, it's safe to do things, it's safe to, walk to Garden City on my own, where I was living before, it was still 2.5 k's away. So if I wanted to go to Garden City, I've got to look at the weather, look at the, okay, is it bin day? Am I going to have to go past all the bins? But now I know it's safe to get here, to get to Garden City, because it's just there. I know it's safe to get on a bus because it's just there. So it's my life's become more convenient, it's safer, you get to know your neighbours a bit better because we're all a community here. So I think that hasn't changed is what I could do or I'm still doing what I used to do, but I'm doing it a lot safer now and it's a lot more convenient now, to the point where I'm pretty much at Garden City nearly every day. So, which was never the case when I was living where I was. So it's more about not what I can do, but how I feel about doing it. Basically, it's convenience, safety, it's independence, it's feeling like you're no longer, you're part of the community, not just on the outskirts of it. This is me. I think I've moved in here and I've gone, this is probably where, if I was to hand pick and build a situation for myself, I think this would be it.